Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, you can hear and look at this. Voice is gone again. All right. Good morning, everybody. I think it's the 20 something, 22nd of August today. Could be the 23rd for all I know. Does it really matter? No, it does not. Anyway, here we are. First of all, before we begin, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is, as always, standing to my right side. Sorry. It's going to be one of those mornings. Standing to my right side, I'd like to say good morning to Chris, wherever she might be, and I'd like to say good morning to all of you out there who are joining us, even as we speak, probably, or have already joined us. Chris, is there anybody there?
People were ready, willing, and able very early today, Rosemary. We have a lot already logged in.
Good, that's fantastic. Well, then we can get on with it then, can't we?
I think so.
Let me see, before I begin answering people's questions and doing whatever it is we're going to be doing today, we never know what's going to happen. And I would like to mention, because so many people have asked, sort of wanting to confirm the date of the event in Venice, Florida, which will be the 19th of November. I think I've got that right, the 19th of November. People are asking, well, what's going to happen? What's it all about? Because as I've said before, I will be there live, walking amongst you all, those of you who can join us. And people say, well, what's going to happen? What usually happens? Well, what usually happens is we get people from the spirit world who come through and they give messages to people in the audience. But it's like anything else. When you're around me, you never quite know what's going to happen. So you never know what surprises may occur. We hope, we keep our fingers crossed for good stuff, and we usually get good stuff. In fact, I don't think I've ever done an event where we haven't had more than good stuff. So I don't know if that makes it easier for you all to understand or it makes it more difficult. Are you saying to yourself, oh, she's still not telling us what's going to happen? But basically, I will be connecting with those in the spirit world. They will hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, connect with me. We should be giving messages throughout the audience. It will be a wonderful experience for all of us. We might see an angel or two. You just never know what's going to happen in these things, in these events. So we shall wait and see. For those of you who are have subscribed to my newsletter, let me just say that the newsletter, we send something out once a month. Occasionally we send something out twice or three times, but we will not inundate you. So subscribing to the newsletter means that you get all of the news of what's going on, what's happening. We're going to be doing our tutorials. Once I get back to Florida, we're going to be doing tutorials. We're going to be doing more cracking up. Excuse me. We're going to be doing more of that stuff. And, also, if you want to come to see us on, when I say us, I mean myself, my Grey Eagle, and whoever in the spirit world would like to join with us. If you would like to come and see us, we'd love to have you. If you want to book a ticket, as you're booking your ticket, I think it gives you an option to say, something along the lines of, are you a subscriber to the newsletter? If you subscribe to our newsletter, you do get a discount on the ticket, and so it's worth doing. You can also subscribe. I shouldn't say this to you, but I mean, if you're smart, you know this anyway. If you don't want the newsletter, right? Say you don't want the newsletter, but you do want the discount. Subscribe, book your ticket, unsubscribe. Simple as that. Right, now, shouldn't tell you that, but there we are. That's how it sometimes works. But do understand, we will not inundate you with stuff. You know how you get stuff every day or every 2 or 3 days, you get stuff from goodness knows how many people, and we don't want that. I don't want that in my life, and I won't do that to any of you. So this weekend, I'm talking about my plans for the weekend before we even get into today. My plans for the weekend are marzipan making with my grandson. So we got the almonds and we got the uh, all of the ingredients. Not that there are many ingredients. We still have yet to get the confection sugar, but we'll get that at some point. And we're going to be making marzipan balls. We're going to be making marzipan animals. We're going to be making peaches and different fruits with our marzipan. We're going to be painting the marzipan with edible paints. I know we're going to be filling some of the marzipan balls with cherries because we got cherries especially. Anyway, so that's my weekend. For all of you who love marzipan, I will let you have the recipe. There is a secret ingredient, however, to my marzipan, because I got my recipe, years and years and years ago, and I got the recipe, the original recipe that was first made in Germany. I can't remember now the city that it was made in, but it's very famous in Germany. And if anybody out there is from Germany and listening to me and you know the city that I'm talking about, maybe you let us know. Or I can look it up later, but anyway. But I love marzipan, it's one of my favourite things. However, not many people know what marzipan is. And in fact, we had a friend over for dinner yesterday, and Reese was telling him that we were making marzipan, and he said, "Was that some kind of a pastry?" Oh, no, it's better than. Well, I don't know. I love pastry. Marzipan pastry, chocolate dipped marzipan. There you go. You've got me right there. All right, Chris. So that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. If any of you out there have got something exciting that you're doing this weekend, let us know about it. Chris, who have we got in the chat room?
All right, so Gary's on saying good morning, and it's a brisk morning in the Adirondack foothills, 54 degrees.
And it's still August. Mind you, it's about 72 degrees here in New York. So, of course, Gary's further north. Wow. Let's hope it's getting. We don't want winter yet, do we? We don't want winter yet. What I love when it happens, and it does happen quite a lot, what I love is the, what do they call it? The late summer. When September comes and all of a sudden it's glorious and it's warm and it's just, and you feel as if summer's going to go on forever. At that point, I'm going to be leaving to go back to Florida where summer will continue forever. Right? Anyway, all right. Cold, Gary. Put a sweater on, keep warm.
Well, the good news is for those people who are in the cold winter climates, if they come to your event in November, they'll be able to experience that warmth right along with you.
Oh, November is one of the best months. I had some neighbours, they were elderly, neighbours who'd lived in Florida for most of their lives, and they used to say there are 2 months in Florida, which we should all try to sort of, make a point of going. If you want to go to Florida, make a point of going either in June, which they thought was, the best month, or November, which is also the best month. Well, the rainy season's over, the storms have gone in November, the sun is shining, it's not hot, it's I don't know, sort of in the 70s. It might get up to 80 or something, but the breezes and the sort of winter's coming in. It's glorious. It's a glorious month to see, especially where I am on the west coast of Florida, where it's beautiful and the sunsets are incredible. So yeah, I'd encourage anybody to come in November. Okay, Chris.
Leslie says, thank you for your response to my question last Thursday. My mom did pass peacefully, and now I want to ask you about my mother-in-law. She has an extremely low heart rate, and doctors can't figure it out.
Well, I'm first of all, I should say that I'm sorry for your loss, and I am sorry for your loss, but I'm very happy that your mum has finally made it over, and I'm sure she's very much at peace and very much where she now belongs. And Grey Eagle is adding to me safe and well, so that's something. The question you're asking now, I mean, I I'd rather not, and especially when it comes to health issues, I would rather not give quick and easy, glib answers, because that's not my thing. If the doctors can't figure it out, you've got the wrong doctors. That's what I would say. So you need to get some sort of a second opinion on what is going on with her. I am tempted, and I will say this. And I'm not recommending that your mother-in-law should have this. I'm not recommending this at all for her. What I'm recommending is that you speak to your doctors, or speak to your mother-in-law's doctors, and ask for their opinion on this. But there is this little tiny capsule. It's containing what they call CoQ10. And CoQ10 is something that helps the oxygen in the blood so that the blood keeps flowing nicely. I take it. I have a client of mine who's been a client of mine for 35, 40 years probably now. And I spoke to her the other day, and she said, I'm still taking that CoQ10 and it's keeping her well and healthy. I remember a friend of mine, her uncle, he was an older man, was bedridden. He could barely get out of bed. He had no energy, so on and so forth. And they were worried because he was, in fact, it seemed as if he was, going to be passing any minute now, so to speak. And I recommended that he should take CoQ10. And within a week, he was up and in his garden and pottering about amongst his tomatoes. Now, that does not mean that it's the miracle cure, and I am not a doctor, so I am not recommending that you should, give this to your mother-in-law or suggest that your mother-in-law should take this. What I'm recommending is you do your own research and ask a doctor. You need to probably find a doctor who's knowledgeable with, herbal remedies, or knowledgeable with remedies that are perhaps outside of the medical, we'll call it the medical, the pills and potions that they provide. But it might be something that you would want to investigate. That's as much as I can say. But do not come back on me and say, you did this and you said that. I'm telling you, I am not recommending it. I am recommending that you check it out and go with your doctor's recommendations. But I personally have found it very, very helpful to me. Chris.
All right. Wanda from Montana's on, saying it's been a while since she's joined into one of these lives, so she's happy to be here today.
Hi, Wanda. Nice to have you.
And then we have a lot of our regulars on, Dean and Shamantha and Eric and Cheryl, Wayne. We have them all on.
Hi, Cheryl. I'd love to hear from Cheryl. I'm hoping she's okay. Just tell me in the chat room, are you doing okay? All right. I would like to mention Karen, not our Karen in Toronto, but I would like to mention Karen in Australia, who sent us an email, and she talks in her email about, the issues when she's falling asleep. She tells me she feels as if there's something sitting on her. She goes to sleep within about 10 minutes. It's almost as if she feels this heavy pressure on her. And I know that lots of people have had that experience from time to time. Now, we are going to be doing tutorials, and I will be addressing this sort of thing in our in our tutorials. But if I can just say this, okay? This may blow your minds, or you may know all about it. Well, we'll see. Okay, so for every one of us, people talk about astral traveling, right? We talk about leaving our body and traveling, and some people know when they're doing it, and some people have no clue that they're doing it. But I believe I've been astral traveling many times, and I believe that we all do this, or we're all capable of doing this. And I think that so many of us in our sleep state will, without even knowing it, we will leave our body, our spirit will leave our body and will travel. This is sometimes you might have a friend or a sister or brother, somebody who calls you up the next day and says, oh, it's so weird, I had such a vivid dream that you were right here beside me. And the truth is that you probably were right there beside her because you've been traveling. It's a very common and experience that we all have, nothing to be afraid of. It's absolutely normal that we do this. I don't want anyone thinking, well, if I leave my body, will I get back in there? But you will, because it's a natural process, and it's what we are, spiritual beings, having this human experience in a spiritual way. You know that I always add that to the Teilhard de Chardin quote, in a spiritual way. And in this spiritual way, we are able to leave our bodies. Often we are so deep in our sleep state that we don't even realize that we're doing it. We have no clue that this is what we're doing. Very often when our loved ones from the spirit world, they come and visit with us, they will, and you sort of wake up in the morning, and I saw my mother, I was talking to my mother, my brother, whoever it is, and you say it was only a dream, but it was so real. Yeah, but it was only a dream. But it was so real, and you keep coming back to that, so real. And what has happened is you have been able to leave your body somewhat to connect with and to be with your loved ones in the spirit world. Weird as it sounds, this is what happens, and it's a normal, and it's an everyday or every night, whenever it is you sleep, it's an everyday occurrence for all of us, I think. Now, if I can explain, Karen from Australia, thank you for emailing us, and we love to have people email us. We love to have questions, and we'll be addressing this, as I said, in the tutorial. Now, when this happens, when we are sort of about to let's say to travel and to move out, it often feels as if someone's sitting on our chest, or this heavy pressure on our chest. However, what is happening is just the opposite. It is that we are, because we're still awake or half awake, we are very cognizant of this feeling of pressure, and on a subconscious level we try to suppress it. What is happening is the normal processes of us coming out of our body, leaving our body to travel. And if we suppress it, when we're trying to suppress it on a subconscious level, I'm sure there's this sort of, little battle going on. The soul would like to leave we sort of on our this subconscious and mortal level, we wonder what's going on. It feels as if something is sitting on us, but in fact it's the opposite. It's as if it's what you're feeling is something as wanting to move out, wanting to escape. So there's that pressure. Okay. If you're awake and you're experiencing this, and usually it's not when you're fully awake, usually it's when you're sort of in a half awake, half asleep state, excuse me, or you're just drifting off to sleep and it's nice, and then you wonder what's going on with your body. It's usually, there's nothing to be afraid of. And if you just relax back and just let it happen and let it flow, you'll be okay, you'll be fine. It isn't some entity that has come to you, sitting on you. It is your soul wanting to move out, wanting to have the experience of, which is a normal experience for the soul to have, wanting to have that experience of traveling. If you really don't like it and you want to stop it, there is a simple remedy. And this remedy is this. You put your right hand over your heart, you put your left hand over your right hand, and you say to God, to whoever it is that you are connected to in the spirit world, you say, or you can even say to Grey Eagle, I'm sure he won't mind. Whoever is out there, please, please protect me. Please stay with me tonight. Please have someone keeping me safe. And I don't want to travel. No, none of that stuff. And that's what you say. And so you ask God or the universe or that God force that is out there, whatever that is. You ask to be safe. You ask to be protected, and it won't happen. And it's as simple as that. If you don't want it to happen, it does not have to happen. I hope I've either made it very clear to all of you or confused you all completely. But anyway, we shall, as I've said, we'll be having our tutorials. We'll be, sort of coming sort of mid to late September, or possibly the first week in October, we'll be doing those things. So if you are a subscriber of that newsletter, not only do you get a discount with the ticket, you also will get notification through the newsletter. You get notification that okay, this event is coming. Other than that, if you don't want to subscribe, which I perfectly understand, I never subscribe to anything, so I perfectly understand why you might not want to, but you can always go to the website and you'll see it up there on the website. You'll see the calendar for the month on the website, and and then you can join in. Okay, there's no charge for these tutorials. We will be having more intensive sessions as we go through the year. And there will be sort of small charges for those more intensive sessions. But, if you sort of would like to have more of an insight and more knowledge and more awareness, then just join in with the tutorials, and, and there'll be chance through the tutorials to have question and answer session. Chris.
All right. Gary had remarked when you were talking about your November 19th event, he said, bring tissues to the November event and be ready for anything.
Well, sorry.
Never drink water when Gary says something.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate that. Right. Well, here's the deal, right? So when people book an appointment with me, I haven't told you this, Chris, but when people book an appointment with me, it's funny, really, because Chris writes to them, and you say to them, have your questions ready, and this is what you do, this is how you get into the whatever we use, Restream or whatever it is that we use, and we give all the pointers, right, and have the questions ready. And a client of mine actually suggests that in that letter that we send out, it should also, and I did suggest it because people often find themselves sitting there and they're looking around and they're sniffling or they're crying and there's no tissues anywhere. So what we should put in our information letter when you book an appointment is, and bring a box of tissues. I did an event a few years ago in Canada where one lady came absolutely fully prepared. She decided that a box of tissues wasn't going to cut it, so she brought toilet roll, and then she proceeded to hand out toilet roll throughout the evening, offering toilet roll to different people who might want to have to blow their noses or wipe their eyes. It was very effective, actually. So either when you come for a consultation, you either bring a box of tissues or just keep a toilet roll handy, whatever you feel like. Okay, Chris.
That's so funny. All right. Vicky says, my mom is 92 and she told me my dad, who is deceased, has been laying next to her as she sleeps.
Oh,
Are visits like this an indication that a loved one's time is near?
no, not necessarily. But in your mom's case, she's 92, so it could well be. But no, I mean, I've had people climb into bed with me from time to time. As many of you have heard my tales of, having to sort of, deal with someone who's just, climbed into bed. It's happened to me a few times. A lot of my clients will tell me, I feel him or her, feel my husband, my wife, or whoever, I feel them sort of, in bed with me, or I woke up this morning to feel my husband hugging me. No, it isn't a sign that we're on our way. It's simply a sign that, in your case here with your mom, it's a sign that your dad he's not deceased, and he's not diseased. I thought you were going to say diseased. He's not deceased. He's very much alive, very much with you all, and just think of him as sort of. He's basically the best way, I think, is he's merely in another room, but he's paying attention to you, and he's obviously with your mum and letting her know that when it is her time, he's going to be right there for her and helping her to make that transition. But yes, I mean, it's lots of people who have had sort of losses will often feel their spouses, but in particular, although it's known that kids have come into bed with their parents, and this kind of in that, because when you're in bed, you're in that sort of half awake, half asleep state where you're much more receptive, and much more aware of other things going on. So that's why it happens then. Because when we're awake, wide awake, and we're doing whatever we're doing, our chores or whatever it is we're doing, talking to people or watching TV or whatever, we're so distracted that we don't even if we had somebody, which often also happens, standing right in front of us saying, hey, look at me, I'm here, we don't always, because we're so distracted by so many other things, we don't always notice. But when we are in that sort of half awake, half asleep state, absolutely, we can sense, we can feel, we can be much more aware. Chris.
Shamanth says, on the 9th of August of this month, it marked the second death anniversary of my grandfather, Vinyaka. We miss him immensely. How is he doing on the other side? Is there any message from him to me or to our family?
Shaman's not, I'm afraid not. Excuse me. I'm afraid messages are, I think, well, can never say, can I? I never know what's going to happen. But so far, messages are not on the cards today, because I'm barely holding up talking to you all, and I'm sort of getting hot flushes even as I'm talking, getting a nasty cold coming on here. So, today is unfortunately not the day, but I'll bet you he's doing really well, and I bet you he visits you often. And I'm getting the nod from Grey Eagle. So there you have it. Okay, Chris, let's keep going.
Annika says, as a jewelry lover, what is the story behind your ornate ring?
Which one? Which one does she mean? I guess this one's more ornate than this one. What is the story behind it? Well, you can see it's sort of in the shape of a wheel. Am I getting the camera better? Is that?
Well, keep your hands steady. There you go. Right there's good.
Right, okay. So if you notice, there are diamonds and emeralds in there. And if you notice, there we are, diamonds and emeralds in there. And I just happen to love diamonds and emeralds. Of course, my daughter has the most beautiful green eyes. My grandson has the most beautiful green eyes. We don't quite have the same color. Samantha's are a little lighter and brighter, and Reese and I, we have like a moss green, a deep green. But and the only other, I have 6 siblings. Some of them have brown eyes, some of them have blue eyes. And it's only my brother and I, the youngest of my brothers and I, we have these green eyes. Maybe we have a different father, who knows? No, not really, no. I am my father's daughter, that's right. So, but anyway, who knows? But my green has always been my favorite color. So, and anything else about this story that you need to know, I can't tell you because it's a secret. But do you like it? Do you know what I love? I love the cutouts in it. Can you see all those lovely cutouts?
Yes.
And if you could see more clearly, through the cutouts, you can actually see the emeralds flashing through really nicely. Anyway, can we get back to this? Thank you for asking. Thank you for noticing. But can we get back to it? Okay, Chris.
All right. From Cheryl. Wondering if my sister cares that we haven't spread her ashes yet. It will be 2 years soon, but her husband still has her ashes. Hoping she is doing well there and knows how she is missed.
Yes, I think she knows that she's missed. I'm talking to Greg as I'm talking to you now, Cheryl, and I don't think she gives a fig that the ashes have not been scattered. If her husband feels more comfortable and he feels that he's a little closer to her by holding on to the ashes, that's fine. In the right time and in the right place, I'm told, it will happen. So don't worry about it. They're only ashes after all. It's only, you know, the remnants of our physical body. But I don't think, would anybody in the spirit world care? I don't think so. You never know though, because there are some odd people around. But no, I don't think that she. In fact, I know from what Graham is telling me. No, that don't even concern yourself with it. Don't worry about it. It's an insignificant detail. Chris.
You had asked people in the chat room if they knew what town in Germany
Oh
from
yes,
Marzipan, and somebody, Judith, suggested Lübeck.
it's Lübeck. It is. It's Lübeck. Lübeck, as we would say. When I was a kid, I would be 6 or 7. I very, very clearly remember staying in the town or part of Lübeck. And my sister and I were often sent to the grocery store. It was a little tiny store to get bread. We had to learn German in order to, you know, we would say, you know, sort of, we would call it Weiss white, which is Weiss is white, but anyway, we would say Weiss and white together. We were only kids anyway. But in this shop window, thank you for that. In this shop window, it was a sort of small store, sort of a big square window. And in the window was always, always, always this enormous pig made of marzipan. And people would come in to the store and sometimes, and I'd watch in fascination as this happened. I would love to go to the store just to watch. And the owner of the store, the shopkeeper, would take the pig out of the window and put the pig onto one of those machines, you know, we usually sort of slicing ham or beef or whatever, and she'd put this on this big slicer, and then people would say 1 slice or 2 slices or whatever, and she would slice the marzipan from the behind of the marzipan. She would take off slices of thin, delicious marzipan, and I think that's how I found my love of marzipan. It is the marzipan city. I think it's a city or a town or whatever it is. But from being 6 years old, I was fascinated by that marzipan pig and always make marzipan at Christmas time. Without fail, I make marzipan at Christmas time. When I was sort of old teenage or into my 20s, my mother would sometimes buy for herself a little box of marzipan. You'd get them with fruits, or sometimes you'd get them in different shaped leaves or different shapes of different things. You know, sort of as soon as I was old enough to make marzipan and know how to make it, I did it. But they in Lübeck they used a special ingredient. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Maybe I will later, but they use this special ingredient which they don't use in most of the rest of the world that makes marzipan. But in my kitchen, you take the recipe, the original recipe from Lübeck, and we make the best marzipan ever. That's it, Chris. Moving on. Thank you for that, Judith.
All right. Rhonda says, Rosemary, I feel like there's something negative around me. What can I do to get rid of this feeling? Lots of little irritating things are happening.
Oh, don't you hate when that happens to you? It seems as if everything is going wrong. It's nothing particularly big, but it's, little irritants here, there, and everywhere. I would suggest that you use your mantra and get yourself out of this funk that you're in. I don't think it's anything external to you that is causing this negativity. It could be though that you're mixing with people who are a little bit negative right now, and your aura is so wide and far. Our auras are several feet. So if you get close to someone who's a negative person, we call them a negative Nelly, uh, and if that's rubbing off, or if your aura is blending with their aura, what you have to do is to make sure that your energy is more positive and more powerful than theirs, which is why a mantra, I will lift my face to the sun and all good things will come to me, is a really good mantra. A mantra, people say, well, what is a mantra? So we're having a little bit of the tutorial in here now, but a mantra is, excuse me, a sequence of words of power. In other words that run along each other. You could call them a sentence if you like, but words that run along each other. A sequence of words of power. Words of power. I is a power word. Shall, will, can, all power words. I will, and when you say your mantra, you emphasize the power word. I will lift my face to the sun, and all good things will come to me. So you emphasize that and you say that, and you have to repeat your mantra 10 times over, 3 times a day if you are having struggles. I sometimes just do it in the morning. I'll say my mantra in the morning, and then I'm good. Then I'm good. And you know, people use mantras for different reasons. You can make up your own mantra if you want, but you need to use power words. Now, power words also include can't, won't, shan't, but those power words are negative. So if you find yourself using negative words continually, that's going to bring your energy to a negative place. So always use power words that are positive power words. I can, I will, I shall, I am. You can literally say, I am, 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 10 times. There you are. That's a mantra. I am. But you say it proudly and you say it positively, like you're proud to be. I am. I am proud to be. I am. Am. I am. Two very powerful power words. Chris.
Judith says, I hope you are planning to have your Halloween spooky evening again this year. That was a true spooky evening. I'll light candles and burn autumn incense. I already have shivers.
Yes, we had all sorts of things creeping around the floor, didn't we? We usually do on Halloween Eve. I can't remember if we did it on Halloween Eve last time, but on Halloween Eve, I get together with a group of friends. They come to my house and we just sit there and we see what's going on. And Grey Eagle is always there. My daddy usually joins in, and it's amazing who joins in. I think it was either last year or the year before, we had a young man who came through from the spirit world to let us know that he was around, and to give a message to his wife, which we actually, what we did was we recorded the show, and then we just, a friend of mine who was a friend of hers played her the video so she could hear the message verbatim from her husband. But yeah, we usually have some spooky stuff. We turn the lights down low. You never know, so you never know what's going to come out from under the bed. You never know what's going to happen. We just have a lot of fun. Chris.
Mags says, I'm so glad I caught you, Rosemary. I have been wanting to ask what it means when you are out and about and suddenly feel this energy shift in the ankle and it becomes painful, as well as the lower back. I was asked before if I've done underworld work when I first started experiencing. During that time, my dreams were very dark, and I would see, quote, demons in my dreams also, constantly feeling the need to ground with the earth, clear my energy, and release whatever I feel.
Well, okay. My first inclination, I'm checking with Greg or Max, and nice to have you here. I'm glad you joined us today. Um, my inclination, I'm asking Gregor, and our inclination is to feel that the ankle and the back stuff are more to do with what's going on with your physical body rather than with your spiritual body, rather than with your spiritual self, rather than what's going on with you spiritually. Um, and having said that, of course, I don't know. You don't know what your situation is, but that could be a result of tension or super awareness. If you are a super sensitive person, you'll be super aware. And sometimes, if we're experiencing things that seem dark to us, it could cause you a lot of tension in your physical body, which could create then the backache and the ankle ache. I don't think the ankle and the problem and the backache are spiritual, but could be caused from anxiety or stress due to some spiritual stuff that you're going through. Again, what I would say to you is, the dreams and all the rest of it. You need to find a mantra which is really positive for you, and you also need. I think part of your issue is, I don't see that you've got negativity around you. I actually see the opposite, but I think what is happening here is that you need an outlet for this spiritual stuff that you're experiencing. You might want to investigate healing, because I have a sense that maybe you could be a really great healer if you put your mind to it. You have a good teacher who can teach you these things. I think what's happening is that you're storing all of this energy that you have, and it's sort of, it's a little bit like when your throat chakra, talking of throat chakra, is a little bit like when you when you get a lump in your throat, right? That's your throat chakra acting up, because emotional stuff and or spiritual stuff can get clogged in your whatever it is they call them, in your chakras. Thank you. In your chakras. Good thing Greg was talking to me here. So your chakras could get clogged. Your chakras can get sort of, if you're not using or not letting your energy flow as it needs to. And I think that probably, Max, you've got all sorts of stuff you're capable of, but you don't quite know the outlet for it. And I think once you find the outlet for your energy, I think that, all that negativity will disappear and you'll start to become more positive. But I would, if I were you, I'd just check into how much you know about healing and how much you know about yourself in healing. Find a good teacher would be my advice. Chris.
G. Ravi Kumar says, I lost my loving daughter recently. Can you tell me whether she comes before you now?
Of course, I'm dealing with Greg when I'm dealing with anything like this. I'm so sorry for the pain and the suffering that I know you are going through. So I'm totally going to send you healing. Even as I'm talking to you, I'm sending healing to you. I am surprisingly, because I say surprising because I'm sort of getting this nasty cold. I've got this horrible throat issue. I'm getting hot flushes, but I do see, even for all of that, and I'm talking to Gregor, I do catch a glimpse. Gregor is giving me a glimpse of a young young girl, should I say. So I'm only getting a glimpse. And he told me to tell you that she is safe and that she is well. If you know of someone you could go to, if you find someone with a good reputation, I'm going to suggest that you might want to consider having a consultation with someone who can help you further with this. But I can tell you that from I trust Gregor totally. If he says she's safe and he says she's well, then she is. So that's the best I can do for you right now. Chris.
Mark says, I have a different kind of question. Prior to moving to Tulsa, back in Springfield, Massachusetts, I worked as a funeral director. I did all aspects of what a funeral director does. Do the souls I prepared for viewing or cremation and burial ever acknowledge the care given them for their families? I worked with so many people then.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Mark, that some do acknowledge and some don't necessarily acknowledge. I think that maybe those that you're perhaps taking care of, they're put into your hands because, you are aided by your angels, as you know. And so I think that it's enough that we have our angels acknowledge us. It's like me every time I give a consultation to someone. I'm sort of, I do the best I can. I more often than not get great results. But do people acknowledge me? Some people do after a consultation, and some people don't. Some people write to me and say, that was wonderful, thank you so much. And some people I'd never hear from again, even if they had good experiences. It's not for them really to thank me. Of course, I like it when they thank me. It's not for them to thank me. It's because I'm just the conduit. I'm just the person who sits there, as you are, as you were in your job, the conduit, preparing these people, for their families to view and so on. But some people, you know, it's the body. Sometimes the spirit is around, the soul of that person is around because their family is around, and sometimes they're gone. We're just dealing with the body, the physical body. The rest of them is gone as it should be. Chris.
Kat is asking, will my son's court case go in his favor? Thank you.
Ooh. Boy, Kat, if I could answer that question, we'd be here all day doing that. Well, we'd be here for at least an hour or two anyway. Gregor has his hand on my shoulder. I don't know what that means. So I need more time for this. I'm sorry, I'm not doing very well today. So I can only tell you that. Okay, I can tell you that I'm told he will be smiling, not as widely as he might want to be. So in other words, I think the court case will go well, but maybe not as well as he thinks. That's as much as I can do with that today. Boy. Chris, thanks, Kat, for asking the question, though. I appreciate it.
Anita is asking, are there any messages from my son or my husband?
Anita, I would love to say yes, yes, and yes. You've caught me on a bad day here. So I'm asking Grey Eagle. Wow. Right. Anita, apparently I don't know you. I don't even know where you live or who you are, but there's so much, much love. It emanates from you, but it also is coming to you. And you mentioned your son and your husband. So because Gregor is involved here and he's showing me this, it's like a waterfall that is gushing over you. The love and the care and also the concern from your husband and your son is beyond, it's overwhelming almost. So I think that they're not just sending you love and letting you know that they are here, I think, or with you, should I say. I think that they are concerned for you as well as you obviously are for them. So why would they be concerned for you? Apparently you need to learn to be a little more selfish with yourself, my darling, and learn to say no to the people who are still trying to take from you, even though they know that you are suffering greatly. There. Chris.
Wanda saying, a few years ago, you requested to speak to my daughter directly. You shared some exercises with her to help her handle her quote gift. Is there a way to find these, or can you share here? She wasn't ready to hear at the time, but now needs them.
Okay. Well, that's often the way, isn't it? I'm going to point you in the direction of the tutorials, because through those tutorials you can ask these questions, and we will be, I will be sharing exercises with people. I will be sharing my knowledge of the spirit world and how it works. I'll be sharing my knowledge of how we need to connect more, and how can we do that, how can we make ourselves more sensitive, more aware of what is going on, not just in our own lives and not just with our own selves, but with those, in the spirit world as well. So just watch for the tutorials, my darling, and we'll see what we can do to help. And if you have a direct question at the time of the tutorials, if you have a direct question, or you need to know something for your daughter, if she would like to know something, that would be the time, excuse me, to ask the questions. Okay, Chris.
This is from Vicky. When we have passed, how can we bear witness to the pain of those loved ones we have left?
Can you repeat that question to me?
When we have passed, how can we bear witness to the pain of those loved ones we have left?
Okay, I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm going to assume that it means, how can we bear it to watch our loved ones here on this earth that we've left behind? How can we bear to see the pain and suffering that they're going through? And it's a very simple answer. I don't want to sort of be glib about this in any way, but it is a simple answer, because once we are in the spirit world, once we are there and we are watching our loved ones and we are with them, we can be concerned for them, but we always also have that knowledge that, first of all, a full life, from, let's say, a day old to or even before then, to, let's say, we live to 100, but in fact it seems like 100 years is a long time, but it's a blink of an eye. It's our life here on this earth is literally so short compared to the universe and time and energy and space and all of that stuff. It goes by in a blink of an eye. And those in the spirit world, when they're watching us and they see us in pain or they see us distressed, they can bear it because they know that it is a short-lived situation, that whatever we're worried about, whatever we're concerned about, it's short-lived, and it's going to be, it's going to be over and done with before we even know it. And also they understand that the pain and the tears that we cry are our teachers. If I could give you a gift for Christmas, do you remember the old lady who said this to us years and years ago? If I could give you a gift for Christmas, I would give you the gift of tears, I would give you the gift of heartache, and I would give you the gift of pain. Seems very harsh to say that, but through those gifts, through tears, through heartache, through pain, we do learn, we do grow. It's like our best teachers at school were the tough ones who gave us a hard time, because they're the ones that we remember, because they're the ones that we learned the most from. And it's like this life now. However, I like to quote Cher, that fabulous singer Cher, whose mother told her, and then I heard her on a TV show sharing this information. Her mother used to say to her, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, then it doesn't matter. And I say that to my daughter a lot. If it doesn't matter what you're worrying about, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, then it doesn't matter. And life is like that, because if you think back on your life and think about all the growing pains, all the heartache, all the, the upsets over the, this relationship didn't work, and that relationship, and my mother was mean to me or cruel to me or whatever. If you think about those things as we grow and we grow through life, those things become less and less painful to us, and we learn, if we're lucky, we learn to deal with this and deal with them. And if you haven't learned to deal with the pains of your past, there's always the bottom brick. Go to my website, discover what the bottom brick is. I'll take you through an exercise that will help you to understand and to come to terms with why we suffer and why the pain and so on and so forth. Anyway, that's it, Chris. I'm in danger of going off on this now, and I'm not going to. Go ahead. Don't think my throat's going to stand any more of this. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, you want one more?
Oh yes, let's have one more. Go for it.
All right. It's a comment from Dean. All that talk of marzipan is making me want to get going on my Christmas cake. Lots, and he has that capitalized. A brandy will keep it fresh for Christmas.
No. When I go home, I'm going to be making my Christmas cake, because you have to make it at least 8 weeks before Christmas. And if you make it before, actually, you can make it one year and eat it the next year if you want to, because that's how good Christmas cake is. But Dean, too much brandy will take away the flavour of everything else that you've created. We're laughing because Dean, bless him, did make my Christmas cake, but soaked it in so much brandy he had to spoon it out. It was more like Christmas pudding than Christmas cake. Anyway, I'm going to be making mine, and I'm going to be covering it with marzipan, absolutely, because that's what we do. So, well, I think we're ending on a great note. Listen to this. We're in August, right? It's not even the end of August yet, but we're talking about Christmas. My daughter and I were talking yesterday. Samantha said, do you realise it's going to be Christmas soon, and I've no idea what to get Reese for Christmas? I mean, time, I just said to you, it goes so fast. It's a blink of an eye. Before you know it, we'll be talking about Halloween, and we'll be doing our ghostly, spooky stuff, which will be fun, and then we'll be talking about Christmas. So, but let's enjoy the rest of summer first before we start in with all of that. But yes, Dean, it's about time you started to get your ingredients together, get them prepared, as I'm going to be doing when I get back to Florida, and I should be making my Christmas cake. Not that anybody in this house here in New York likes my Christmas cake. Samantha might have one slice just to say she's had some Christmas cake. If our friend Karen comes for Christmas, she loves Christmas cake, but hey, she's probably not coming for Christmas this year. So, who knows? So it'll be just me and the Christmas cake. I like the sound of that because I love it. All right. So before we leave, I'd like to say thank you to Gregor for being here with us today, as always, and doing, what would we do without him? We wouldn't be able to do this without him. I'd like to say thank you to Chris for a great job as facilitator. I'd like to say thank you to all of you out there for joining us today. Please, everybody, we should be here next week, of course, Thursday, doing this all over again. It'll go by the blink of an eye. So, and nobody told me what they were doing for this weekend. So anyway, I guess if you've got any stories or anything you'd like to share with us, please feel free to email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. Go to my website, www.rosemaryaltea.com is the website. Go check that out. Remember, if you want to come for our 19th of November event, you'll get a discount if you subscribe. So subscribe, get your discount. If you want to unsubscribe after that, I won't mind at all, whatever it is you want to do. All right. And so that's it for the newsworthy stuff. So please, everybody, once again, thank you for joining us. Please have a very blessed rest of the day.